Now, what I will also say is, Angel, your actions are starting to speak so loud, we can't hear what you're telling us. Because what you told us, if we go back to March 31st, was simple. You said you think people just take it like we hate each other. And Caitlin Clark and I don't hate each other. I want everybody to understand that. That's what you told us. The problem is your actions vehemently disagree.
After a heated on-court altercation with her longtime rival Caitlin Clark, which garnered significant attention due to their rivalry and the physical nature of the play, Angel Reese was reportedly losing it after the WNBA suspended her. The social media backlash that followed only made the situation worse.
Played probably every team in the league, if not all but one or two teams. And the two flagrants aren't just on the same team.
Yeah.
They're on the same woman on the same team.
Yeah.
It's not coincidence unless you believe that it is.
Tensions erupted during the June 16th WNBA game between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever after Reese hard-failed Clark when he was attempting to stop a shot. The game finished with the Fever winning 91-83, but everyone was watching the post-game reactions as Reese missed the ball completely and instead struck Clark in the head. Initially, officials labeled it a common foul, but after analyzing the play, they increased it to a flagrant one, igniting controversy. Reese played down the hit, referring to it as
It's a basketball play. I can't control the refs. They affected the game obviously a lot tonight, so. I think we went up really strong a lot of times and we didn't get a lot of calls. And going back and looking at the film, I've seen a lot of calls that weren't made. I guess some people got a special whistle.
And Clark unexpectedly concurred, saying that instances like these are just a part of basketball.
It's part of basketball. It is what it is. You know, just trying to make a play on the ball and get the block. But yeah, I mean,
Imply that it was both recent. This WNBA showdown was no exception to Clark's lengthy history, which dates back to their college days when their heated altercations frequently made headlines. The long-standing rivalry fueled even more drama on the floor, but the tension didn't end there. Reese, who is known for being outspoken, gave a quick and contemptuous interview shortly after the game. When asked about the foul and the game, she expressed her annoyance with the media and made some disparaging remarks about Clark, claiming that her rival received a special whistle, which implied that the referees were calling Clark favorably.
Definition of a flagrant foul is literally hitting somebody above the...
That was not a special whistle. That was the correct whistle. When it's a basketball play, there's contact, it's a foul. When the contact comes to the head, it is a flagrant, it's upgraded. So that was not a special whistle, sis. That was a correct whistle.
Fans started examining previous games on social media after learning about Reese's unique whistle comment, searching for instances in which Clark might have escaped with a favorable decision. Here's
Here's where I'm going where the rivalry kicks in. Angel Reese, the reason why, obviously, the whole Caitlin Clark Angel Reese thing happened was because when they met in the NCAA tournament in 2023, when Angel Reese was doing all of this, because Caitlin Clark had been doing that to her opponents when she got the best of them. So Angel Reese and LSU got the best of her, and that's what she did unapologetically, okay? And Angel Reese is gonna talk that talk. And so because she's gonna talk that talk, and because she's a conscientious observer, she's gonna speak her mind, and she's gonna be unapologetic in doing so. That is where you see her in the shine, and the throwing in stuff about her with Caitlin Clark really comes in the focus. If it's purely about their games are on two different ends of the spectrum. That's not the rivalry.
You're the player.
Some analysts claim that the fierce rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark is a forced one, but despite their on-court rivalry, they have unquestionably become two of the biggest names driving the skyrocketing interest in women's basketball. The moment Reese fouled Clark went viral almost immediately, igniting a heated debate among fans about whether the foul was excessive or just a part of the game. Some called for Reese to be suspended, arguing that the hit appeared to be intentional. In fact, this wasn't the first time the Chicago Sky players got into trouble over fouls. Earlier in their first game together, Carter delivered a cheap shot to Clark during an inbound play, earning the team's first flagrant foul. The rising animosity between these teams was exacerbated by Reese's hit, which was the second.
A lot what Shanae said. I think the thing is, I believe, Miss Carter, you can play hard without playing cheap. Now, if you want to say, well, she threw an elbow or a punch at my head, if you wanted to hip check her,
and you're trying to block her out for a rebound, I don't think we're having the discussion. Shanae, Monica, I don't think we're having that discussion. But because she was standing there and you go up and you do that, now all eyes are on you. Plus the fact, if people look at your resume, is who you are. You're a top 5 pick, and within inside of a year, you're kicked off a team. You go to another team, and within that situation, all that happens. Yeah, of course. It's the same thing. Stephen A. Put Stephen A. up on the screen for a second.
Despite her earlier claims that she and Clark are not enemies, her behavior on the court is leading some to question whether this rivalry is more complex than it first appears. Many are debating whether Reese truly meant what you said when she stated that she doesn't dislike Clark and that she is simply competitive.
Said you think people just take it like we hate each other. And Caitlin Clark and I don't hate each other. I want everybody to understand that. That's what you told us. The problem is your actions vehemently disagree. Because on June 1st, after Kennedy Carter cheap shots Caitlin Clark, you get up and you celebrate the cheap shot of Caitlin Clark. And then you proceed to hug your teammate who just cheap shotted her. Then fast forward 2 days later, you say, I'll take on the bad guy role. Then fast forward 2 weeks later, you wear Joker shoes. Now, for those that don't know, Joker's obviously a notable villain character in one of the most famous stories that we all like to celebrate in Batman. And then yesterday, you get a flagrant foul by hitting Caitlin Clark in the head. It was a basketball play, family, but what I want is simply for Angel and those that are a little bit ignorant to what has been going on to understand that Angel's actions are starting to speak so loud we cannot hear what is being said. For those that are unfamiliar, let me tell you all, there have been 540 minutes of Chicago Sky basketball. Pay attention to this detail. 540 minutes of Chicago Sky basketball, of which Caitlin Clark has played 74 minutes against the Sky. The Sky only have 2 flagrant fouls all season. Y'all want to know who the 2 flagrant fouls are on? Caitlin Clark.
For those who are not familiar, let me tell you that there have been 540 minutes of Chicago Sky basketball. Pay attention to this detail. It was a basketball game, but what I want is for Angel and those who are somewhat unaware of what has been happening to realize that Angel's actions are beginning to speak so loudly that we cannot hear what is being said. Caitlin Clark has played 74 minutes of the 540 minutes of Chicago Sky basketball, with the Sky only receiving 2 egregious fouls. The WNBA suspended Angel Reese for the 2 flagrant fouls on Caitlin Clark following the game, and her response was anything but subdued. In addition to the suspension, the league fined her $1,000 for skipping post-game media duties following a close 71-70 loss, which put a slight dent in her $73 for $39 salary, which is bolstered by endorsement deals. The Chicago Sky also received a $5,000 punishment for breaking league regulations, but she continues to argue that she hasn't been handled properly despite the fact that many people believe that she was entirely to blame from the start.
I would have gotten on her about what she just said. Because I would have been like, how naive can you be? But she is young. She's only 22. And the reality is the scrutiny that she's been subjected to is inexcusable, it's egregious, it's disgusting, it's wrong, and there's a bunch of punk, no good, you know what's out there on the male and female side who are abusive because they're really, really good at being that way when they're behind keyboards and away from cameras and out of the spotlight where people know exactly who the hell they are. The only reason that I brought up the first part about Angel Reese is this. Caitlin Clark is box office. She is a star. And Angel Reese is to be completely believed that there's no hate. They both get along. They're cool with each other. They're high-end competitors, etc., etc. But you've known they were coming for you when you were waving your hands in your face to mock Caitlin Clark when you were beating her for the national championship. And you also are old enough to know that in this society, whether they want to admit it or not, they don't like seeing somebody black coming at somebody white who is a beloved star of theirs. That's not the case with all, it's not the case with most, but those who screech the loudest get the most attention sometimes. And that's what the worst of cynics and critics do. And so you knew they were going to come for you. You had to know that. Now, to the degree that they're doing so, I get where you're coming from.
Reese even jumped off the bench to cheer wildly when Carter gave Clark a hard shoulder check earlier in the game, and it was evident that there was no love lost between the two sides despite Carter's refusal to comment on her actions during the post-game media session. It's interesting to note that the WNBA also upgraded Chindi Carter's earlier foul on Clark to a flagrant one.
I think it wasn't a basketball play. It was an emotional reaction by Kennedy, and that's why it was a foul, and that's why it was upgraded, and that's why she was asked about it, and that's why the crowd reacted the way that they did, and that was a separate incident from everything else that's happening around Caitlin Clark. I think because we can look at that and then her response to it afterwards, her reaction in the post-game press conference, her comments that we just showed on social media, we can isolate this as this is her sending a message to Caitlin Clark. This is her violently sending a message on the court in a non-basketball fashion. This is her using her words on social media to send a message about how she feels about Caitlin Clark. She said it herself. Those are her words. Yeah. What does she bring to the table? I think the conversation overall about Caitlin Clark and the reaction that we're seeing from a lot of people has become a bit toxic because I think this incident is getting mushed in with how people have been playing defense on Caitlin Clark, how physical they've been on Caitlin Clark. Some of the comments from some of the greats in the WNBA before Caitlin Clark got in, it's all kind of getting put into this pot of Caitlin Clark hate. And I think it's more nuanced than that. I think there are a lot of things that's happening with Caitlin Clark in the start of her career that are very normal to a lot of sports. You often see players who are in the league or players who have played before or greats have opinions about new rising stars in the league. That is not uncommon. That's not exclusive to women's sports. It's not exclusive to men's basketball. We can pull so many examples of that. You often see rookies get played very tough, get a little message shown to them, especially if they're coming into the league with a lot of hype. That also is not new. I think what is very specifically unique about this situation is we are seeing a transcendent crossover superstar come into the league and have a huge amount of buzz, of polarization, of excitement. It is translating in numbers, it is translating in ticket sales, it is translating in conversation, and overall I think that's a good thing. I don't think that what Kennedy did is a reflection of how the entirety of the league feels. I don't think it's a reflection of how all female athletes feel, and I don't think it's a reflection of how the media feels. I'm excited about watching Caitlin Clark. I went to watch Caitlin Clark play basketball. It wasn't my first WNBA game. I was excited to see how she performed, and I watched very, very, very physical play from the moment of the tip to the end of the game on Caitlin Clark. So I won't deny that there is a bit of an energy towards Caitlin Clark from the players. But this is basketball. This is competition. They are athletes. And I don't think that every part of the conversation around Caitlin Clark should be in the same.
Fans questioned whether the drama between them had ever truly subsided after Reese's extravagant celebration of Clark's misfortune caused some eyebrows to shoot up and prompted new controversy. Despite having an outstanding college career and being the #1 draft pick, Clark's transition to the WNBA hasn't been easy. Her rookie season has been made even more difficult by opponents like Reese and Carter, but winning Rookie of the Year unanimously undoubtedly indicates that she has demonstrated that she just wants to play her game and ignore background noise.
Welcome to NBA Today. I'm Malika Andrews. We start our show in the W, where Caitlin Clark has just been named the 2024 Rookie of the Year. Clark averaged 19, 5, and 8 in her inaugural campaign, and she also led the league in assists. Clark's rookie season, it was historic. She had the most points in a rookie campaign, the most assists in any season ever, and she even messed around and got a pair of triple-doubles, something no other rookie has ever done. When a season is that special, we need a Hall of Famer to break it down. Rebecca Lobo is joining us now. Rebecca, can you just help us contextualize how impressive Caitlin Clark's rookie season was?
Malika, this season by Caitlin Clark is one of the best rookie seasons we have ever seen by a player in the WNBA. She has the 5th highest assists per game average ever. She's only the 2nd rookie to lead the league in assists. The other one was Tisha Penicheiro back in 1998. And I think the other thing you look at is only 2 other rookies have ever finished in the top 4 in MVP voting. Of course, Candace Parker set the standard in 2008 when she also won MVP. Diana Taurasi finished 3rd in MVP voting in 2004. And of course, Caitlin Clark this year finished 4th. And then, of course, when you look at what she helped do off of the court, there's not been another singular force like Caitlin Clark in terms of driving TV ratings and ticket sales. There's no comp for her in that regard.
Absolutely. She has been must-see all season long, and just to think where she is going to go from here is really, really exciting. I got to say, though, Rebecca, a lot of fans, they were anticipating Caitlin Clark becoming the 6th ever unanimous Rookie of the Year. Obviously, that did not come to fruition. She was just 1 vote shy. Were you surprised at all?
I wasn't really surprised, just because anytime you have 67 people voting on something, everyone's not going to have the same opinion. And Angel Reese, of course, had a terrific season.
When questioned about everything, Reese didn't back down. Instead, she went into full force, discussing how she's played a significant role in the growth of women's basketball. She assured the media that her efforts have been vital in bringing attention to the sport and that she isn't scared to claim credit for her part in that development. It's obvious that Reese is seeking recognition in a world where individual stars frequently rule. The story Reese is fighting that and ensuring that people are aware of how she has contributed to the advancement of women's basketball. This rivalry is undoubtedly far from done, and social media will undoubtedly keep analyzing every second of it. Angel Reese and Draymond Green of the NBA are undoubtedly related in that they are both well known for being vocal, having a distinctive on-court presence, and frequently being at the center of controversy. However, what perhaps distinguishes them most is how poorly many basketball fans understand them.
We can equally say that they may grow. Yeah. Obviously, Caitlin Clark is a star, and we think she is better, and she will then, therefore, by the laws of logic, be better. But the argument cannot just be just about the game, because it's not just about the game, and there are so many examples across all sports that it's not just about the game when it comes to stardom. This is an entertainment product. There's more to it than that.
Really than that.
Guess we'll see.
So, I mean, like Joy said, both things could be true. And Angel Reese is not lying. A lot of attention came to Caitlin Clark after she waved in her face. She had got a lot more attention. Then once she got a lot more attention, the whole world was like, Lord Jesus, this is Steph Curry on the basketball court. And that is why views in college, that's why views in the WNBA, all that went up, right? Did she bring awareness to Caitlin Clark? Absolutely. Was Caitlin Clark destroying college basketball before the wave in her face? Absolutely. But Angel Reese did bring attention to that. Now, once Angel Reese brought attention to that, Caitlin Clark said, this is what it is, this is true, and she showed you that by beating South Carolina, by beating LSU again. She showed you that she's that type player. Now, the only way I disagree with Angel Reese is because if Caitlin Clark, because she continues to keep saying that she's changing the WNBA too. I don't necessarily agree with that and the main reason why I say that is because did you bring attention to Caitlin Clark? Sure. If Caitlin Clark stays an extra year in Iowa, these numbers don't change for the WNBA. With you being in the NBA saying that you changed the game, they don't change. And the reason why I know that is because if you're not playing Caitlin Clark, it's 8,000 people at your games. The same amount of people that was at your games last year when Angel Reese was not there. Right? The draft, people watching the draft went way up. You read all the numbers off of what Caitlin Clark has brought to the WNBA. If she does not enter the draft, even with Angel Reese saying she changed the game, these numbers will look the same, is what I'm saying. So that's why I disagree with her.
Like Draymond, Reese isn't afraid to voice her opinions and adds a little edge to her game, which has won her both devoted fans and outspoken detractors. They both play with a level of intensity that occasionally passes for aggression, but it's all part of their competitive spirit. The difference is that Reese is only 1 season into her professional career, whereas Draymond has years of experience and multiple championships under his belt. Reese is under pressure to live up to high standards from the media and fans, and every move she makes is being closely watched. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and smash the notification bell. Thank you for watching.